Hi, my friends. My name's Trey, and I got a talk for you today called "When Trauma Bonds Are All You've Known." You'll think you want to fall back into the drama zone. It's not a good thing. It's important to realize how to connect with the truth rather than lies. When trauma bonds are all you've known this entire lifetime, this is the response you get for your artwork. You know, that's how it rolls. When you're up, you're down. Happiness is misery. Lies are all you can be if you're fully obedient on the deceiver. If you're fully obedient to the deceiver, you're going to be living a lie. It's not actually possible that you could live in the truth if in any way that any of us are in obedience to fallen angels. We will be lying to ourselves in those ways. Okay? So, thus the Animal Farmer was it 1984. The slogans from the book 1984 are so fitting these days, huh? Like 20 years later, 20 years after the title. War is peace, right? That was one of them. So, since war is peace, then we have to have trauma to stick together. So, the alphabet CIA or NSA censors at Google Tube, or could it have even been the chief executive officer? Unless I'm being narcissistic. First, this hasn't happened to me in so many years, folks, that I guess I conveniently forgot it existed, or it, I wouldn't say I was in denial. I conveniently forgot about this since the days of the lockdown when I remember vaguely in my mind when I very first began making videos that they would do this shit. Anyway, so I was busy in I was busy having misadventures, and I procrastinated on responding when my new teacher, who I discovered at Barnes & Noble, basically in Charleston, West Ashley here, that the little book was in there, and then I went back to buy it, and they sold it, so I ordered it on thriftbooks.com. And, so this video was brought to you by thriftbooks.com, who constantly interrupt my other when I'm watching YouTube to give me advertisements. So anyway, his name is Christopher Wallace, and he made a whole playlist about free will, and from his perspective, having a PhD in psychology and having studied in India with tantric masters. So anyway, I wrote this long, expose about how free will exists, but it requires you to work, and how basically exposing the SDC, I guess, a little more than Alphabet could handle or whatnot. So it took me over a week to reply, and I was busy in a misadventure, and when he asked me a question, and I'll discuss that later in other episodes. So as soon as I saw the lines in the future, I'll remember his. Okay, as soon as this happens in the future, I'm going to screenshot it, okay? But what happened is the censors on YouTube, they started putting lines direct. It looked almost like Sanskrit, ironically, because he studied in India, right? So they looked like a line through each line that I wrote that exposed the derangement or the insanity, the inversion, the vampirism of academia or the SDC. And I was trying to be polite, actually, but perhaps I was obviously too explicit for their taste, And so, anyway, so as soon as I see the lines in the future, I'm going to screenshot that bad boy so that I can have a copy of it still. Sadly, yet, I must have compassion on whomever did that, whoever deleted my long comment on that video. You know, as idiotic as much of as it brings in communism in, for example, if from some people's perspective, on whoever, I have to have compassion on whoever deleted that, not only because they are my coworkers and middlemen, you know, that they're going to control whatever I get put out there if they can delete it, but also because the human condition is so sacred, and yet the fallen angels are so powerful and afraid, and such afraid derelicts, that they have to get some guy who's, you know, got a family and is trying to survive and working for the NSA or CIA at YouTube, and they have to get him to delete that comment because I made academia look stupid or whatever it was, which is what I think it actually was, because the fallen angels are so powerful and such afraid, morally retarded derelicts as far as creator beings go, as far as gods or people or beings that are angels or that are powerful. Okay, that's how much of a derelict the fallen ones in charge of USA are. Okay, as long as they have power, dereliction is going to be popular, folks. It's a big problem we have. Okay, that due to loser 4's massive insecurity and brilliant mind control, brilliant ability to control in general, that I could not be allowed to expose the details of my opinion around free will here on this platform in the year 2024, when I really tried to obey the guidelines and not say anything that was breaking the rules. But because I'm a sacred clown, and I probably did a good job of talking about how pathetic academia and the hijack form is, it had to be deleted. Okay, so, you know, because the halls of academia are so close to South San Francisco there, you see, so, and the stacks of cash. So I'm not allowed to expose the details of my opinion around free will here due to the exposure of dereliction in academia, the SDC and the MM. And I mean no disrespect to anyone, you know, believe it or not, because all I mean to do is bring the actual clarity of the real second coming, which is the Christ, the awareness, the age of Aquarius, the light, the ray of Christ within me. I'm not here to harm anyone. I'm here to say, look, your fucking blue light, your powerful fluorescent light, your inverted sick light of pathos is not actually helping serve the light, but the soul, the Christ, like Dr. Jack Cruz MD has taught me lately, the actual light of the actual creator, the actual original Christ, the actual divine creator beings who were here before the Anunnaki ever got to the scene and did such an amazing job to create the Matrix and Humans 2.0 now. And I'm not going to lie. Okay, they did a great job, but you know, is it another thing I didn't even write on my notes that I want to say? Is it do I hate? Give me a few minutes. Do I hate a rabbi because he can't look me in the eye? No, I feel sorry for them, man. That's, as Cliff High said, they have a massive Stockholm syndrome from millions of years of torture and you know, powers given to them by, you know, the Anunnaki and the beings who created this. So, you know, you have to. I just, like I say, I've just recently subscribed on my hound journey to the on my cell phone to the Wizard of Wavenho, and you know, he speaks very gently. His day job is playing with helping children, I think, and but he got a you know, a degree in computer science and other, like, he got several PhDs, and of course especially because he didn't put out a book, and because of the way he does powerful shamanism online, he's only got 348 subscribers, I think, and it's just like, Well, that just shows you, man. I mean, he's been doing it for years. He's helped to heal my friend Laura, and like I've watched him do traditional shamanic rattling and stuff to heal all these people. And that can't be supported because, you know why? Because he exposes so much of the mind control. He's so pure at heart. He's so true. But also, like myself, he wishes no one any harm. He brings in the oneness to a deep degree. And, you know, I'm saying, like, you know, he's not only three times more powerful than me as far as, like, you know, but according to the algorithm of YouTube, that's all he deserves, you know what I mean? He's thousands of times more powerful than I am as a healer. You know, I'm not going to lie to you because he's been fully trained in the Buddhist and some type of traditional shamanism. And the idea that he can do it remotely on a live YouTube video, that's a new one for me. So he's an amazing teacher. Check him out. So anyway, so the fallen angels are such powerful and afraid derelicts as far as creator beings go that, you know, it's wrong for me to be free. You know, as long as they're in there working their black magic, I'm not, you know, unless I work with Jeremy on Odyssey.com. You know, that's about the only, you know, he's the only chosen one who's on the side of freedom that I'm certain is on the side of freedom. The other ones, I don't know. I just can't be certain, man. But I mean, Dr. Drew, well, there's some, you know. Dr. Drew he's like a politician, able to talk outside of both sides of his mouth so that he can not get deleted. But I don't know. I can't believe all this bad stuff is happening. And then he has all these amazing, you know, MDs and researchers on there. We're saying crazy conspiracy theories, and I mean, no disrespect to anyone. Seriously, I don't. But the devil is a rude boy. Okay, the fallen angels are rude boys. They're powerful genetic tinkerers. They're powerful. They're powerfully talented at recreating the divine Christ human race into slaves and making us powerfully, spiritually pathetic and retarded, making us powerfully good workers, you know. But is that really the kind of power that humans should be under? And so the ancient mind control master has almost conquistadored everyone with his SDC, especially 4 years ago, of course. And I was even trying to, you know, take the Council on Foreign Relations, sprinkle in all the different secret societies, you know. Again, no one's going to contest the fallen angels on the powers of their orchestration. Also, the powers, the ability they have to create armies and orchestrate endless perpetual suffering and war and loose harvest drip systems on the human farm. They have skills, man. No one else has had the organization skills, and thus that's why it says in the preface to Kurt Vonnegut Jr.'s book, Slaughterhouse-5, if the powers of good could organize along the mafia, then the powers of good can overcome the powers of evil. You know, a Jewish Scorpio war veteran, sacred clown, novelist, Kurt Vonnegut Jr., you know, so he has a really good point there, you know. The powers of good have often been not organized for shit, you know, so nature was using, you know, fractal chaos in a harmless way somehow, and it couldn't coalesce as well as fear. I don't know. It's just, again, it's also, maybe it's due to the selenite rods they put in the earth, you know, in Lucifer's rebellion and takeover. I mean, there's actually a lot of physical gadgets involved with the mind control. People don't believe thoughts or things. If ethers, nanotech weapons, all the stuff that's in the ethers is physical stuff. Okay, all of our thoughts and all of the geoengineering, aluminum dust clouds are physical things. Okay, Wi-Fi has, you know, it could cause cancer. If I put my head up to this screen, you know, for 5 hours, it probably give me a tumor. So the blue light screens in particular. So, you know. And so the ancient mind control master has almost conquistadoried everywhere with his SDC. And I was even trying to be polite on Chris's channel. So I said, scientism and where I'm from and where I'm going are different. Life does not work backwards. And yet somehow, and ideally, some way, in the Hamza or harmlessness, we have to honor all beings' free will and accept the unacceptable facts of these recent war games on a local and grand scale, and of all these factions. We have to accept the somehow we have to accept all beings' free will and accept the unacceptable facts of all these factions of adamantly obedient, willfully ignorant, adamantly obedient to the inverted all around. Most humans, or those that live in cities at least, and maybe half the humans on the planet here, who don't actually have, maybe half the humans on this planet who don't actually have their head up their ass, who are awake to more than 50% of their mind, still have to do business, work, or coexist somehow with these people who are going to go, like the Hollywood lemmings off the cliff as they're told. Damn it. They're going to do what they're told till the end, like the firing squad of the Revolutionary War, and we have to accept that. And I know it's hard. I'm not trying to tell you it's easy to take the red pill, but that's the reality in this psychological temporal war we're in right now. So we might have to, a lot of us are going to have to work, sleep, coexist with the adamantly living dead, accepting of the SDC, fully compatible with the NPD plague, epidemics of NPEs and NPCs, and a humanoid 2.0 slavery maze. And that's just how it's going to be. And you can't convince them. And it's just to ease your mind, you have to incorporate that into your meditation. It's just how it's going to be. We have to survive full frontal psychological and nanotech warfare, DEW, and geoengineering weaponry of many sorts and subtle and extreme types, and somehow, attempt to maintain peace in the heart and stay in the heart while visiting loved ones who still have to think, I made all this I just set up. Or no. Or do they still think I made it all up? They could tell me after this. So the actual reality originally and in the end, in the awakened state of a human experience, the reality is a beautifully mutable scene before and after, this massive control, before and after the been hardened into Satan's frame. Still we have to go up to free space and accept, ideally escape the prison planet and the forced memory wipe, reincarnation, endless human loose drip farm of the trauma bond to the fake false self. Still we have to go up and ideally fly up into freedom after death and accept those who only waited to hear, who only wanted to hear a word of freedom out of people like my mouth, who only wanted to have a taste of the concept and then make fun of it and gaslight and triangulate and try to control me and tell me I'm an idiot. That's all they're ready for. Or even worse, an NPC who is not ready for a word of it. And then go back to fear and die in hell on earth, die in a psychological hell on earth place of their own making to some degree. Somehow we must still love all beings, and if they are harmless, if they're not harming anyone else, you just have to allow every person to make their choice, who to believe, what is real, what is true, what is possible of you. What do you believe what do you be truth is possible? I mean, if you look at the rings of Saturn, if you're able to fly fast enough, you would see that it's only particles of dust. demonic junior gods that live in the particles of dust on those rings, probably literally. He set up the incredibly advanced technology of putting a cube, a hexagram on the inside of that planet, beaming it to the moon, setting up the matrix, the Nephilium reversal grid, and all this stuff. And you can't deny that they did a great job in that. You can't deny that they have achieved their goals and their wet nightmares, But that doesn't mean that you have to put up with it. If you're not going to hurt anyone else, if you have that discernment, if you realize the truth, you can do anything you want. If you're not going to hurt yourself or anyone else or their spirit especially, okay? You will be free. But you see, you're going to have to accept there's many, many that have to go down in that geoengineered flood or whatever it is, the psychological warfare of humans 2.0 experimentation, Somehow we must, we have to accept that each person has to make their choice what to believe, what is real, what is true, what is possible of you. Just what you were told? Or is there more there than this? More than this. More than this. If you enjoyed this and you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell for more, and follow me on Odyssey.com or Rumble for more of the details about how you're being played and what you can do about it. It's just not kosher to say on Alphabet. And bless you to the Alphabet and all beings who are involved with sharing information, and even if you're trying to play both sides of it like Donald Trump. Anyways, said too much again. Okay, we love you. And so eventually discernment will be the normal mentation of a human person. Peace, folks. Loving you.